Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Death on Demand, the best mystery bookstore east of Atlanta, has done it again. There's more murder and mayhem on the island. Stay tuned as I talk with Carolyn Hart about April Fool Dead. Susie Beasley will talk with Pauline Rodriguez. Kids Corner will feature Heidi Johnson. We also have Doug Benton, Clyde Martin, and Alma Otto. Coming up, Carolyn Hart.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
Carolyn Hart is an Oklahoman who has written 12 previous novels featuring Annie and Max Darling. She has won multiple Agatha Anthony and McCavity Awards, and she won the 2000 Oklahoma Book Award for Fiction last year. She is one of the founding members of Sisters in Crime and a regular guest here on Read About It, and she's here to tell us about April Fool Dead, which is the 13th.
13th, right.
And I think not an unlucky 13th. It was a very enjoyable book.
Thank you.
But you have poor Annie. She's come up
Poor Annie.
with the best promotion in the world.
See, pride goes before a fall, especially in fiction. Annie has come up really, and I'm really very proud of it. I thought it was clever myself. She's going to promote a signing at her mystery bookstore of the island's famous mystery author, Emma Clyde. So Annie's solution, because she's terrified of Emma and she wants to make sure everybody on the island comes, is to create a contest to draw attendees to the signing. Her contest is lists 10 famous, information about 10 famous mysteries, and the person who solves the contest gets a free copy of Emma's new book. And so Annie has these flyers made up. She puts them all over the island, but someone else puts out flyers too. They look just like Annie's, but these flyers accuse someone on the island of murder. So
Actually, there are a whole
host
of really naughty things going on that island.
I had great fun.
Well, I think you just about accused everybody on there of doing something.
I did. and even our famous mystery author, Emma Clyde, it's that old story about did she or didn't she push philandering husband Ricky off the back of her yacht. So
right, and poor Annie, the question is why? Not did she or didn't she put out these scandalous flyers, but why did she do it?
Exactly. Everyone on the island thinks they're her flyers. So then Annie sets out to solve the mystery of who created these flyers and why. And a bunch of the flyers are found near a murdered woman. And this, of course, involves Annie in a very dangerous and challenging investigation. So.
But she's got lots of help because
she does indeed.
There's Emma thinking, because she's so much smarter than anybody else.
Of course.
I have to ask, is Emma modeled on anybody you know?
Well, not exactly.
Not exactly.
I have great fun with Emma because, in a way, she's the crusty reflection of my own personality, although I neither smoke nor drink, so Emma's gin and cigarettes are not part of my approach to life. But Emma's attitude toward writing pretty much is mine, if you want the unvarnished truth, which most people don't.
Well, and I'd venture you didn't push a philandering husband off the back of a boat.
No, I've never done that. And actually, I don't even have a yacht, and I don't have a detective named Marigold Rembrandt, but I have lots of fun with Emma.
Well, she also, Henny, I believe, gets involved in this as well. And
well, the victim is a very good friend of hers, and she's appalled at the suggestion that her friend might have authored the flyers. So she insists this could not be, even though everyone else, including the police, think that's the solution. So, and I had wonderful fun with Annie's mother-in-law, Laurel.
Oh, yes, with the dowsing.
Yes, who is wandering around the island with dowsing rods, and no one knows why, and Annie's sure that it will be terribly upsetting if they ever discover why. So this actually, I had great fun with this book, and everything worked. You know, sometimes, very rarely does that ever happen to an author, but all the subplots worked out. I really, really am pleased with April Fool Dead.
Well, I noticed you dedicated it to, I don't remember the name, but who laughed when she read the manuscript?
To my editor, Trish.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
she liked it,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I was reading, I just kept thinking, oh, poor Annie, poor Annie.
Well, you know, that's supposed to be one of the great ploys of fiction writers, is that the more plights you provide for your character, the more interesting it becomes for the reader. So you hope so.
Yeah. Well, I was intrigued to find that Annie thought she was, for once, was not involved with the dead body.
Oh, exactly.
There were just these flyers, and I think in a way she felt like she maybe had a handle on it because she's read all these mysteries.
That's right, and you know something, it never quite works out that easily.
It always looks better or easier when you're reading it than when
Exactly.
you're trying to figure it out.
Or when you're writing it, let me assure you.
Right, I'm sure you're thinking, what would May Gray do?
Exactly.
Well, he'd ask his writer, what do I do now?
Exactly, do something.
But actually, Annie ends up solving at least one of the mysteries that was on the flyer.
That's right.
In the pursuit of justice, and I found it interesting that right at the beginning of the book we were getting into who put the flyers out. Was it someone who was looking for justice? And since that is, as you and I have talked before, this is one of the reasons people read mysteries.
That's right.
Is that search for justice, and I think I don't want to use the word closure, but a sense that things have been resolved. That
Exactly. Well, I think it is a sense that the mystery reaffirms the fact that we really believe in goodness, and people read books because they want it to be a good world. They read mysteries, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up to.
Well, I think you provided a very good world on that
Thank you.
island, except I'm not visiting there because
Too dangerous.
Too dangerous. An awful lot of people seem to die on that island.
That's true, but you know,
Yeah.
you have to take a few risks.
Right. Well, Annie needs something to do in between coming up with the best promotion for a mystery book that's ever happened in the world. And she did a very good one. I think in the
Thank you.
end, Emma was very pleased.
Oh,
Certainly.
Emma was delighted.
I'm
They
sure
sold a lot of books.
I bet they did. So, what have you got coming out next?
Out next spring will be another Annie and Max called Engaged to Die. And in this one, Annie has a young woman who's working at the mystery bookstore over the Christmas holiday, and she falls in love with a stranger that she meets on the pier, and things progress from that point.
Oh, dear.
And I will have to tell you about, I don't know how much time we have, but I also wrote another book last year, which is very different from, it's a mystery, but it's not a series book, and it's set in Oklahoma in a little northeastern town in the summer of 1944. And a girl named Gretchen is working on the small town newspaper that summer, and a murder occurs on the street where she lives, and the book's Letter from Home tells the story of how that murder affects her life and the people in the town. And it's bought by Berkeley, not my publishing house, but I'm pleased about that. I'm excited.
Do you know when it's coming out?
They haven't said yet. I would think maybe sometime next year. I'll let you know.
So we need to look for that as well.
That's my
have,
Oklahoma book.
Well, we'll have you back on
Okay.
to talk about Annie's next problem
Okay.
and also about the Oklahoma book.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. We've had with us today Carolyn Hart. She's been telling us about April Fool Dead, which you can find at your library and your favorite bookstore. Coming up next, we've got Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Pauline Rodriguez about another book you'll enjoy.
Pauline, The Secret Ingredient by Jane Heller. What is the secret ingredient?
Well, this is a story about Elizabeth who feels that her marriage has become very settled in.
Okay.
Everything about her husband irritates her. Does this sound familiar?
Yes, quite.
He doesn't want to go out on weeknights anymore. He stays late at the office instead of coming home to be with her. He doesn't pay attention when she talks. So Elizabeth complains to her sister, who recommends a doctor who bills himself as a life enhancement specialist. Now, did I mention that this story takes place in California?
Only in California.
Only in California.
Okay.
Basically, you go and see this doctor, and tell him your problem, and he mixes up a special bunch of herbs to fix the problem. And Elizabeth thinks, well, she doesn't have anything to lose. So she goes and sees this doctor, and she meets Clover, who's there for the same reason. They go in, they tell the doctor about their husbands. He mixes up his little potion, and they go home, give the herbal supplements to their husbands secretly.
Now, does these secret ingredients, do they work?
Well, it works really well. Elizabeth's husband turns back into a sensitive lover. He's attentive to her. He wants to go out on weeknights. And Clover's husband does much the same. But eventually it starts to wear on the wives. Elizabeth's husband, now that he's willing to go out on weeknights, if Elizabeth's too tired, he'll go without her. And even worse, he's turned into a babe magnet and a perfectionist, so nothing that Elizabeth does is ever good enough for him.
So this is where you would call trouble in paradise. So what are Olivia and Clover going to do about this?
Well, they have had it, so they decide that they're going to go back to the doctor and get the antidote for the herbs. When the good doctor's office phone doesn't answer, no big deal. They're just going to go over to the office. But when they get there, he's gone. So now all Elizabeth and Clover have to do is find the doctor, get the antidote, and give it to their husbands, all before their marriages collapse and without their husbands finding out about any of this.
So this is one of these type books that just has all these different elements of things that can go wrong, but it has to be fixed.
Oh,
the
yes.
page turner.
And the hunting for the doctor could be a whole book by itself.
Well, Paulie, we really have enjoyed you telling us about The Secret Ingredient by Jane Heller, and this is a fairly new book, and it's available at your local library and perhaps your local bookstore. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Paulie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susie and Pauline. After a short break, I'll be back to tell you about a few books I found interesting.
We are more than 300 strong. We are diverse from all walks of life. We are musicians. We are teachers. We are computer experts and business leaders, each with the same goal, to meet the information needs of the people of Oklahoma County. We are the librarians of the Metropolitan Library System. How can we help you?
For anybody who is interested in the southwest of the United States, I think they'll find this first book very interesting. It's called Architecture of the Ancient Ones. Photos by Val Brinkerhoff and text by Dudley Gardner. Val Brinkerhoff is an associate professor of photography at Brigham Young University and a commercial and fine arts photographer who's had both photos and stories appear in a number of magazines. Gardner is associate professor at Western Wyoming Community College, and he is a historical archaeologist. What they have done is taken the Four Corners area of New Mexico, Arizona, and Colorado and photographed many of the ruins of the ancient ones. They have gone to the places that most of us know about, like Chaco Canyon and the Navajo cultural area and so on. But they have also gone to a number of more inaccessible areas and photographed beautifully some of these ruins. I would say that the value of the photographs is more in their beauty than in any archaeological information that they might convey. These are stunning photographs, but the text also provides some information about the ancient peoples who were the ancestors of today's Pueblo Indians who live in Arizona and New Mexico. So you can pick up a bit about how they lived, how they built their communities, and some speculation on why all of these beautiful ruins were abandoned. But an absolutely stunning collection of photographs. Some of them, quite frankly, looked like Brinkerhoff was hanging from a tree or perhaps a helicopter when he photographed the ruins, but they are absolutely beautiful, and I would recommend this book very much. Now, for anybody who is interested in baseball, and this is, I understand, baseball season, I think they'll find the Biographical Encyclopedia of the Negro Baseball Leagues by James A. Riley to be very interesting. Now, the Negro Baseball Leagues lasted on and off from the 1800s right up to 1947, when Jackie Robinson actually started playing with the major leagues, which until that time had had a sort of gentleman's agreement that they wouldn't allow any colored baseball players in. And so Riley has gone back, done a great deal of research to compile information and photographs on many of these players. A few of them you will recognize because they ended up in the regular American and National Baseball teams, but many of them you won't. Good players nonetheless, something for anybody to take a look at. Coming up next is Kids Corner. Kelly Rhea will be talking with Heidi Johnson about some books for our very youngest readers.
Hi, we're here with Heidi Johnson from Tech Processing at MLS, and she has brought us some really wonderful books today. I think you're going to like them, and they kind of have to do with summertime. What's up, Heidi?
Hi, Kelly. Well, I brought, the first one is called Fidgety Fish by Ruth Galloway. The very first thing that attracted me to it was the bold colors in that one, the very vivid, outstanding colors. And it's a great story. Have you ever known any, like, children that have just way too much energy?
I think there's a lot of parents that may deal with that issue.
Well, Tiddler, the fish, the fidgety fish in this story, he is one of them also. And his mother is very exasperated and finally sends him off to swim off that extra energy, as she puts it, which he does. And he goes exploring and he looks around where he lives and he finds a starfish and crabs. But, you know, they're really boring. They don't want to play with Tiddler. So he goes off and he looks for a big adventure. Now, his mom had forewarned him, watch out for the big fish.
Oh.
Well, he comes to this big cave and he wants to go exploring it, and next thing you know is snap, and he's trapped inside that big fish's stomach.
Oh, I wish he'd listened to his mom.
Then, yeah, really, and see what happens when you're too nosy sometimes. But anyway, Tiddler, of course, with this boundless energy, he starts wiggling and he starts turning and fidgeting. And before you know it, the big fish just can no longer stand it, and he burps him right back out. And Tiddler swims back home, used up all of his extra energy, and before his mom can even ask him, what did you do? He's already sound asleep.
Oh, that's heaven in our eyes as a mom.
Yes, it is. And it's a wonderful story for children to follow along and see the adventures of Tiddler. And
yeah, I liked the big, bold pictures as well. And in reading this to my child, we got to point out, you know, I could say, well, where's blue or where's pink? And what is that that's
it helps
blue?
with the colors, yes.
It does. And we could take a lot of time. And every time we found the word Tiddler, of course, then he could read that part. But it was so much fun. And, of course, kids love this kind of thing. And so I think that this will be a big favorite.
Well, great.
So would you say that this is for what age?
Oh, for preschoolers probably, to read with their parents, or it's just as they're starting to recognize some words.
Yeah, this is a wonderful book, and I think the kids will really relate to that.
Well, great.
So it's called Fidgety Fish, and it's by Ruth Galloway, and we think your kids will really like it. Tell us what else you brought.
Now, the next one is called Storm is Coming, and Farmer tells the dog, take all the animals to the barn, storm is coming, which animals know, oh, storm has really been big and mean and scary.
Oh, my.
And they all hover and huddle and try to hide from storm. As it turns out, thunder, lightning, and they all think, oh, great, it's thundering, he can find us, and it's raining, so our tracks are washed away. And when it's all over with and the sun comes back out, the cat wakes up in the barn and she says, did storm ever come? Oh, no, he never found us. Everything is safe.
That's wonderful, so they don't really know about Storm.
You're right.
And you'll find out all about it if you find Storm is Coming. It's by Heather Tekavec. You can find it at your local library or at your favorite bookstore. Thanks, Heidi.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Heidi and Kelly. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list, If Looks Could Kill by Kate White, Everything's Eventual by Stephen King, The Summons by John Grisham, 1,000 Country Roads by Robert James Waller, The Wailing Wind by Tony Hillerman, The Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicola Krauss, Star Wars Episode II, Attack of the Clones by R.A. Salvatore, Daddy's Little Girl by Mary Higgins Clark. Mortal Prey by John Sanford is number 2, and number 1 is The Shelters of Stone by Jean Auel. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is Cancer Schmancer by Fran Drescher, Last Man Down by Rickard Picatio with Daniel Paisner, A Mind at a Time by Mel Levine, The Right Words at the Right Time, edited by Marlo Thomas, Odd Girl Out by Rachel Simmons, Stupid White Men by Michael Moore, Master of the Senate by Robert Caro, Lucky Man by Michael J. Fox, Find Me by Rosie O'Donnell is number 2, and American Son by Richard Blow is number 1. On the children's list, number 10 is The Hostile Hospital by Lemony Snicket, The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, The Miserable Mill, also by Lemony Snicket, Princess in Love by Meg Cabot, Lemony Snicket's The Reptile Room, Junie B., First Grader at Last by Barbara Park, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, Artemis Fowl by Ian Colfer, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling is number 2, and Lemony Snicket, The Unauthorized Autobiography is number 1. Coming up next, we've got Doug Benton from the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. He'll be talking with Clyde Martin, that renowned radio opera host and actor, and they have a book they really want to share with you.
Thank you, BJ. Stars and Bars by Hopalong Cassidy.
Hopalong, you are so silly. It's an English writer named William Boyd. This book is in the tradition of Evelyn Waugh for people who love rather sophisticated English satire. Although this one gets pretty pie in the face at times too. He can get pretty lowbrow as well as he can highbrow. It's the story of a man named Henderson Dawes, who is an English art appraiser, very good at what he does, especially as the lesser-known artists of the 19th and early 20th centuries. He's working for an agency in New York when he gets an assignment to go to Georgia. And he's not even sure at first what a Georgia is, whether it's a person or a place or in Russia or exactly where he's supposed to be going. But it's, of course, our Georgia in the Deep South. And he has to go down there to appraise a collection that's held by an eccentric millionaire. They're not good paintings. They're not the better-known artists, but that's what Henderson does. He does the lesser-known artists. So he goes to, and the theme of the book is how does a sophisticated Englishman fit in with these Erskine Caldwell Faulkner kind of characters that he meets when he goes down to the South. Some of them are glad to see him, and they're more than happy to help him, and there's real Southern hospitality, and there are others who try to kill him every time they see him, and some that make fun of him because of his accent. On the way, he's being forced to take the daughter of an old girlfriend down there. She's in her early teens, and he's not really interested, but she has to tag along too. She falls in love with one of the rednecks down there. So there are all kinds of plot complications. I love the character's name. His last name is spelled D-O-R-E-S, which made me think of Gustave Doré, the illustrator from the 19th century, as well as the doors that are always being opened and slammed in farce, because there are some highly farcical moments in this book as well.
Well, this sounds like fun.
It is. It is a delightful book, but it has a lot to say about both the American character and the British character, and it reminded me of the old saying about our language, our countries being separated by a common language. So, in a sense, that's what Boyd is talking about here too. Not just language, but attitudes towards life.
Well, as you say, Evelyn Waugh meets William Faulkner.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Doug.
With me now are two very special guests, Alma Otto Brown from the War Acres Library and her very good friend, Hedgelina. Hi, Hedgelina.
Guten Tag.
Well, my goodness.
Hello.
Hedgie, do you speak English as well?
Yes, I do.
Oh, great. Now, Alma, you and Hedgelina are going to be doing a program at the War Acres Library, aren't you?
That's correct, on June 10th. It's a little puppet show. I know the story you were doing. Yeah, she's very excited about it. I'm the star. Yeah.
She is.
Yeah. It's a singing and saying puppet show, but we're going to present Thumbelina.
Yeah, and I am going to be Thumbelina.
Ooh, what fun, Angelina.
Yes.
Now, is this for a certain age group, or can anybody come?
Yeah, this is open to everyone, all ages, like 4 and up.
Okay.
We're asking daycares to also call and schedule a private show, though.
Okay. So if you are running a daycare and you've got a bunch of kids who would love to meet Hedgelina, they need to call the War Acres Library.
Yeah.
Yes, but they don't speak to Hedgelina. No. They ask for Alma Brown, don't they?
That's right.
Okay, and that way they can get scheduled. But there are lots of other things going on at War Acres, aren't there?
Yes, there is. We have everything for all ages, babies on up, and
every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
That's right. Mondays and Wednesdays are big presentations, but we have a music play, play times, baby lap time.
Story time.
Story time.
So much fun.
That's when Hedgelina gets to come out, doesn't it?
Oh, Honey Bear and Sneaky Squeaky and the others.
Right.
Cawthorn and Swishy Sishy.
Now, they can find out about these story times actually a number of ways. They can call you at War Acres, right? But they can pick up a copy of Metro Library, which has all of the programs at War Acres and actually all the programs at
all of our libraries.
All of the libraries. And that will be listed for the month of June, and then they pick one up for July and so on. And I don't know why I'm explaining this. But they can also go online and check us out at www.metrolibrary.org, and it will have information for War Acres and any of the other libraries. And we want to mention again, we really want daycares to come, but they do need to call, since usually they're a large group, and
we need to schedule them.
You need to schedule. You need to know when that big group of kids is coming, right, Hedgelina?
Yes, so we can welcome them.
Okay, so you're looking forward, Hedgelina.
I'm going to have a lot of friends and read a lot of stories this summer.
Oh, you are? So you're going to be busy all summer, right?
Yeah. I'm going to read surprises too.
Prizes?
Yeah, just like our whole system, we'll have our summer reading programs where the kids can listen or read for prizes.
Oh, neat. Well, Hedgelina, are any of your friends going to get to tell stories too?
Yeah. Honey Bear, did you want to meet Honey Bear?
Well, if we can meet Honey Bear very, very quickly, we've just got a little bit of time.
Okay. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. So you have quite a collection of puppets, don't you, Alma?
Yes.
Well, I should say friends.
Oh, excuse me.
Honey Bear.
I'm sorry.
But I bet it was kind of stuffy in that
It
trunk,
was. I was choking.
Oh, dear. Well, what kind of stories are you going to tell this summer?
Well, I tell sweet stories.
Sweet stories?
Yes.
Sweet stories with honey in them?
Yes. That's the best kind.
Oh, but if you can't find honey in them, you have to settle for sugar, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. Do you like to meet the kids when they come?
Uh-huh.
Great.
They sing with me.
They do?
Yes, they do.
So you can sing songs, huh?
I can.
Oh, how neat. Golly, I'll bet that's fun.
It is.
And what kind of songs do you like to sing?
On my favorite is The Bear Went Over the Mountain, the Bear Went over the mountain.
Okay.
I can't imagine why that would be Honey Bear's favorite song.
It's a story about me.
Oh, right. It's a story about Honey Bear?
Yes.
Ooh, how neat. Well, I bet the kids really enjoy meeting Honey Bear, don't they?
Uh-huh, because they know I love them.
Ah, of course you do. And they love you right back.
And they love stories too.
Yeah, I'll bet they do. Mm-hmm. So you get lots of fun playing with kids and hanging out at the library. Golly, that's a neat job, Honey Bear.
I even make babies laugh.
You do?
we do rhymes that tickle.
Tickly honeybees.
Oh, is that with the lap babies?
Yes.
We need to get into that at a later time. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I want to thank you, Alma, for being with us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.
Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy